got me. Nothing in the whole wide world could ever stop me. 'Cause if you got love to give. I'll just keep giving it up, and so I won't let you in. Just
34 minutes past the hour. Thom Hartmann here with you. Taking back the mainstream media 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Senator Bernie Sanders with us. Sanders.senate.gov, his website. Our Brunch with Bernie hour. Lauren in I don't know how to pronounce it, Lauren, in Oregon. Hey, Lauren.
Estacada, Oregon.
Estacada, thank you. It wasn't quite spelled that way on the screen. What's up?
I had an idea for a new law. With the disparity between what CEOs make and what people at the bottom rung make, I was thinking that we should have a law in place that says that if your bottom lowest paid worker makes $1,000 an hour or $10 an hour, that you should make only $10,000 an hour, and put some kind of a limit in there as a starting point.
Well, Lauren, I think the issue of addressing disparity in income and the huge gap, which I think recently was almost 400 times what the CEO in a large corporation was making from what the worker was making. And that gap has grown wider over the years. It is much wider than in Japan and many other countries, that it is an issue we have to focus on. I don't know legally that you can do that, but this is what you could do. You certainly could say that a company which has a huge disparity, that above a certain gap, that money is cannot be used as an official expense and be tax exempt. In other words, you can say that if a CEO is making, say, hypothetically 10 times more than the worker, that money above that cannot be used as an official expense to be written off for tax purposes. That is what you can do, and I think that is what we should do. And I have actually introduced and worked with people on legislation like that.
Another possibility is to roll back the Reagan tax cuts. Between when was it Coolidge? Who was president in 1921? In any case, when they dropped the tax rates from 70% down to 25%, you had a 10-year period where people were making multi-million-dollar salaries during the Roaring '20s. Then when Roosevelt jacked the top marginal tax rate up to 94% from 1935 until 1980, we had no dynastic wealth emerge in the United States. We weren't creating billionaires, that we instead created a strong middle class. Reagan drops the tax rate down to 27%, and all of a sudden, we've got people with all these big paychecks again.
No, again, this is an issue I think as a nation we need to have a huge conversation on, and I think Congress has got to act very boldly. We really have to ask ourselves, when we have 18% of our children living in poverty, when 46 million Americans have no health insurance, when people are losing their pensions, when poverty is increasing, is it really acceptable from a moral perspective as well as an economic perspective that during that same period we're seeing a proliferation of billionaires? So I think we're dealing with a culture of greed, which isn't that fantastic? This guy is worth $5 billion, $18 billion. What a great American hero he is. Well, maybe we should be looking at the teacher who's taken money out of her own paycheck to buy chalk or an eraser for her classroom as a heroine. Maybe we look at a small business person who's creating some good jobs. Maybe we look at a cop on the street or the fireman or the nurse. Maybe we make those our heroes and our heroines rather than these multi-billionaires. And maybe we understand, in my view, this is my view, to be honest with you, Thom, everybody in this world has a problem. And I think some of these people who think that what life is about is accumulating billions and billions of dollars and doing everything they can to do it, I think they got a really serious emotional problem. And I think we should make that clear. I mean, I don't begrudge people making money. But what are you going to do with billions of dollars? I mean, you're not going to spend it. You can't spend it. You can't leave it to your kids. And I think we have to culturally deal with that issue to make it not a form of heroic activity to make billions of dollars, but a mental illness, if you like. And I think we need tax laws to move us to a much more egalitarian type society.
Yeah. Speaking as somebody who was for years on the Vermont roster of psychotherapists, putting that hat on, I would say I believe it is obsessive-compulsive disorder where the object of the obsession and the compulsion is money rather than washing their hands.
No,
and
that's what I'm talking about. And,
I know.
some people can't stop eating, people can't stop drinking, people can't stop doing drugs, people can't stop making huge sums of money.
Yep.
Well, we should understand that as a mental disturbance.
Yeah, I agree.